There are moments in life when it feels like everything stacks against you at once: your health, your work, your finances, your sense of direction. And in those moments, the real fight isn't outside of us, it is the one within. Today's conversation is about how strength is forced when quitting would be understandable, but choosing to stand becomes transformative. Welcome back to Mind Over Matter, where we explore resilience, inner strength, and the psychology of pushing through life's hardest seasons. I am Yusuf, and today I'm joined by DK Kang, author, life learner, and wellness advocate, who has walked through job loss, financial crisis, and supporting his wife through cancer, all while rebuilding himself through faith, fitness, and disciplined mindset work. In this episode, we are talking about how to keep going when everything seems to be working against you, and how inner strength can be trained just like the body. With that, I welcome DK Khan to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Before we dive into the tools and practices, when life started unraveling all at once, what was the moment you realized this is going to require a different version of me?
Yeah, so it was February or no, sorry, it was January of 2024. My wife gets diagnosed with breast cancer, and then February 1st, um, I let my employer know about my wife and to ask for a flexible work schedule, and they agreed. And then after I disclosed that, a week after I disclosed that, they decided to lay me off. So, um, for me, faith is a big part of my life, and when I heard the news that I got laid off, I came home that night. My wife and I, we prayed, but we didn't ask the question to God of why is this happening? Why does my wife get cancer? Why do I lose all my job all at once? In short time period. We asked the question, why not us? And who can we help? And so that really shifted my mind, but also shifted my actions on knowing that there's other people out there that is facing some sort of life challenge or circumstance, whether it be cancer, job loss, losing loved ones. Um, we know I knew that there's other people out there, and so for me, I it shifted into I just want to be able to help people get through those challenging times.
Mm, that's true. A lot of people think strength means never breaking, never doubting, never slowing down. From what you have lived, what do you think we misunderstand about mental and emotional strength?
Yeah, I think mental and emotional strength, I mean, we're human. I mean, we're going to have those instances of doubt and, s- you know, s- that second, that self-negative self-talk. But, I think, like I said, faith is a big part, and for me that there's a scripture in the Bible that says in Romans, it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And so I think we have to transform our minds. We have to, you know, yeah, there's doubt, there's the negative self-talk, but how do we change that into a positive affirmations and because for we as humans, we're our biggest critic and we're our biggest challenge on like we think we're not good enough or we have all these doubts that oh I failed, but is to really transform that mind because everything starts in the mind. What you think is what you become, I think is a quote from Buddha. And, you know, our thoughts are we're just doubting ourselves, then well, guess what? That's gonna be your outcome is you're not gonna do anything. And so for me, I had to really renew my mind in, I had to learn about cancer. I had to navigate job loss and accumulating debt. And so, but for me, renewing my mind meant seeking help, finding a mentor or finding someone who has been in my place before and see what they did and do what they did. So yeah, for me it was I had to transform that mind, because whenever we think like, oh, like, I mean, you're the show is called Mind Over Matter, right? I mean, everything starts at the mind, right? Mind is first. So if we transform that mind, things will happen.
Okay, that's true. What I am hearing is that strength isn't about being unshaken, it's about staying engaged even when you are shaken.
Yes, that is correct. Because I mean, we're human. We're all going to be shaken. Life is going
Yeah.
to happen, you know. But it's how do we respond to that? Do we just respond of, "Oh, well, I'm shaken and I don't know how to get back up." But or do you respond on, "I'm shaken, life is challenging, but I'm gonna find I'm gonna find a solution or find a way out to get to where I need." Yeah.
Yeah. When life hits in multiple areas, health, money, identity, what inner patterns tend to surface that make the struggle even heavier?
I think internal patterns that happen, when everything's going all at once, I think, I think it's that sense of, like, feeling like you failed. I know that's what I felt that I have failed, um, and didn't know what to do. But I think when we fail, I think it's those times where it's a time to learn. It's like life lessons. What am I going to learn from this struggle that I'm going through or all this things that's happening all at once.
Yeah.
And so I think for us, for my wife and I, when my wife was going through cancer, I think for us was we had to the life lesson was uh, that we're being more self-aware, like taking ownership. Like what causes cancer? It was the stress, it was the foods that we're eating, and I'm like,
Mm,
okay, let's start changing these things. Let's start to, bring down our stress. And,
mm,
I talk about this in my book, Mindset Metamorphosis is a book that I wrote during my life's cancer journey and job loss and, accumulating debt.
mm,
But I had to write down like how I dealt with stress and how to, I went for walks, I got sunlight, I did some exercise, I did breath work, I did meditation, and all these things helped bring down my stress levels. And so, yeah, I think it's one thing that we can do is whenever all everything is hitting all at once is to kind of step back and kind of assess the situation and then to start tackling one thing at a time.
mm. Yes. On a day to day level, while caregiving, facing uncertainty, and rebuilding, how did the inner fight actually show up for you?
I think for me, the inner fight, I think it kind of showed up by just my faith. I look at other people throughout history. I look at people in the Bible. I look at Jesus Christ and what some of those people suffered. And so I think it was a good reflection for me. I'm like, just kind of thinking like, wow, like I'm not going through what some of these other people are going through. Some other people has had it worse, and that gave me perspective to continue that inner fight, to continue to be encouraged and to move forward. In that, this is just a season in our life. And so I think that really gave me perspective and also just helped me to have that inner fight to continue to keep going.
You know, that's such an honest picture because st- strength showing up quietly in routine and choices that don't look dramatic but change everything over time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, the small consistent actions. Yeah.
Yeah. You lean into martial arts, spiritual practices, and disciplined mindset work. For someone who feels overwhelmed, what's a simple starting point that helps shift from survival into stability?
Yeah, I think, something to go from survival to stability. One thing that helped me, and I think it's breath work. There's so many types of breath work. Breathing in through your nose, out your mouth, deep breaths. You can do box breathing. I talk about all these things in my book, but I feel that breathing is something that we can do consciously and unconsciously. But when we breathe consciously, we actually can be still for a moment, and breath work actually there's so much science and studies out there that it can actually calm our nervous system down, bring down our stress levels. And I think if we take a moment just to be consciously breathing, and just like box breathing, like counting for 4 and drawing a box, breathing in for 4, and you're drawing a box, like a mental note, and then out for
Mm.
4, drawing a box for each count, basically. So, and there's so many studies show that just doing that can bring down your stress levels by at least like 50%. And so I think that's one thing that I did for sure that has brought really that going from survival to stability, um, because it was something I knew I can control, and it definitely just helped my stress levels.
That's true. But even with strong practices, setbacks will happen. When motivation drops or faith wavers, how do you personally reset instead of spiraling?
Yeah, I think how I reset when, everything is kinda going crazy is, um, I give myself grace. I allow myself to, you know, to allow myself to fail. I allow myself that I'm human, that I make mistakes, that things happen. Whether, if I'm trying to do the right thing, things happen. I mean, that's part of life. Everything doesn't happen perfectly. And I think just giving myself grace really helped me not to be overwhelmed or beat myself down. Um, because when you kind of give yourself that perspective of like, hey, you're human, you'll make mistakes, you're not perfect, and learn from that mistake that you did or failure that you happen or whatever, and learn from it, and then get back up, go again, put into practice what you learned into that next step. So that's something that definitely has helped me out.
The ability to return without self judgment, I think, is such a critical part of long term resilience. It's not about never failing, it's about learning how to come back stronger.
Yes.
Mm. And DK, for listeners who want to learn more about your work or stay connected, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, the best place to find me is my website, dkkang.com. And on my website, I have a newsletter. My newsletter is about life lessons that, life challenges that I had and life lessons that I learned from it. And if you sign up for my newsletter, I'm actually giving away the first chapter of Mindset Metamorphosis as a free download.
Wow.
And I'm on social media, but I just go there to post. I don't really interact with a lot of people. If you want to interact with me, it's best through email is dk@dkking.com, and I usually respond in about 2 to 3 days. And I I am an author. I have 2 books. The first book is Mindset Metamorphosis. It's basically about, when you're feeling overwhelmed or stuck and how to take action for your life and,
Mhm.
how to de-stress, using, some of the breath works that I was talking about, and that's on Amazon as a Audible, as a Kindle and paperback. And then my other book is called The Kimchi Connection Cookbook, and it's
Mm.
basically about a book to how to make kimchi and the benefits of kimchi and how to integrate it into different dishes, and that's on Amazon as well as a Kindle and as a paperback, and so that's the kind of the best way to get a hold of me, and for me, at the end of the day, I just want to be able to help people, that are going through challenging times, because 'cause I've been there. I know what it's like.
Yeah. To all our listeners, all these links are there in the show notes, so just go and check those out. Is there any last message that you want to leave us with?
I think last message, I would say, no matter what you're facing, the mind is stronger than you think, and don't give up no matter what kind of situation you're in.
Hmm. So, thank you so much for joining us on Mind Over Matter.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, sir. And to all our listeners, if today's conversation resonated, take a moment to reflect on the quiet ways you're already stronger than you think. Until next time, keep training the mind, honoring the body, and trusting your capacity to rise. Thank you so much.